Hey, what's up, everybody? This is DJ Keel, and today I want to do something a little bit different. Everybody knows that it is wedding season right now, and I read this report somewhere that said that there are so many weddings on the dockets that people cannot get licenses until next year. So they're that backed up from the previous year for the obvious reason. So I thought it'd be cool to kind of do a video from the bride's perspective when it comes to finding a DJ and what kind of things you should look for a wedding. I think the first important factor when you're looking for a DJ is punctuality, time. This is your meeting, this is your first time you're talking to people, and it says a lot about the character and what they plan to do when they're on the job if they're late. There's lots of reasons to be late. Your car broke down, accident on the highway, stuff that's out of your control. For me personally, when I meet a bride for a meeting for a wedding or even an event or something like that, I try to show up at least 20 minutes earlier. And I'm not gonna lie, I do scope out the area and trying to figure out, where the bathrooms are, get a clean table. If we're gonna meet like in a coffee shop or something like that, I'll call ahead and be like, hey, can I order you something to drink? That little bit of being professional, it just helps give people an idea about who they're dealing with. I always say that be punctual. You have to be punctual. It matters for the DJ more so than the bride because they're busy, they're doing things. A lot of times people are late and they're frazzled. So I totally understand that. But I try to be at least 15 to 20 minutes in advance, either sitting in my car or in the coffee shop or whatever, just being prepared and having my notes ready. But I'll get to that in a second. The second thing I think that brides should look at when they're trying to find a DJ is not all DJs are the same. Think about it like this. If you were going to go bake a cake, you don't go to the person on fries at McDonald's and say, hey, can you bake a cake? Technically, it's both food. I mean, there could be semantics about that argument, but technically, it's both food. But people have different skill sets, and some people are good at some things and some people are good at other things. Being a wedding or event DJ is a completely different beast than, say, somebody who's DJing a roller skating rink or somebody who DJs kids' birthday parties. It's a different skill set. And while your best friend's friend who's a DJ probably is the most awesome DJ that could be, you need somebody who specializes in this type of task. I would suggest that try and find somebody who specializes in either event or wedding because I think there's enough overlap between the event and the wedding, and I'll get to why in a second. But definitely do not get any other DJ and expect to get the same results. This is a specialized thing. If you want somebody to make a wedding cake, get a wedding cake maker. Do not get somebody who's good at grilling, meat, if that makes sense. The reason why I say that event and wedding DJs are similar and they could probably overlap is because you have to speak on the mic a lot. If you know anything about weddings, there's going to be a lot of microphone talk and people have to be clear and concise how they're talking on the microphone. And you can't just have anybody mumbling like, hey, dinner's almost ready. Like, that's no good for you. You need somebody who's clear, booming voice. And some people, they may be calm and collective, but they turn into their entertainment voice. Like everybody, like they all do that. Some people are better than others, but you need somebody who has a clear voice. And that's why I say that you want somebody who has basic conversational skills is a good indicator if this person can handle the task that you need for doing a wedding. A lot of times you have to make announcements for food when it's time to sit down. You have to announce the bridal party, bride and groom, first dance. There's a lot of things that you have to do. You can't have anybody on the microphone that's scared to talk or has a timid, quiet voice. That's not helpful for you. The fourth thing I think you need to look at, and I think this is probably obvious, but a lot of people don't put this into account when they're looking for somebody. How well dressed are they? Now, I'm not saying that you need to find somebody in a three-piece suit, but if you're doing a meeting for a wedding and their first impression of you is flip flops and shorts, clearly they don't take this opportunity seriously. So you kind of want to find people who are at least, slacks, a nice button up dress shirt or something like that. A t shirt that says DJ's Rocks is just, that's not your best bet. find somebody who looks the part that you wouldn't mind them accidentally being in pictures behind you, because that's what's going to happen. A lot of times when the DJs are in the background in a lot of pictures, people don't realize how often that happens, but it happens. So get somebody who, you know, can handle putting on a suit or some nice slacks and a button down, that kind of thing. You need to be concerned about that. If they're not presenting themselves well in their first meeting, that's not a good sign and it's not going to get better on the day of. Next thing I think that you need to look at is making sure that you find a DJ who understands the equipment that's required for a wedding. A lot of people don't have any equipment, they have to rent, or they're reliant on the venue that they're going to. And I always make the suggestion that you should go to the venue at least a week before the actual date of the wedding. Everybody who's selling the venues, they'll tell you everything that you want to hear to close the deal, but a lot of times they have no idea what speakers are working, what they even sound like, or if there's a working mic system or anything like that. They have no idea. And they also aren't taking into account if you have a performance, what kind of things you would need to make this work, if the reception is in a different place from the actual ceremony, or, these kind of factors. Do I need to bring speakers from here over to there? So it's better that you go to the venue in person and at least check it out. I've seen a lot of DJs that do weddings on boats and they never bother to go down to the boat. They have no idea what's happening there on the day of, and they find out everything out at the same time. And that's a recipe for disaster, because especially on boats, because the boat's leaving harbor. So it's not like I could just run over to a Staples or somewhere and get some batteries for a microphone or something like that, or even another cable. So I think that it's always best that you want to have somebody go down to the venue and at least check it out in advance. Always, always make sure they check it out in advance. You don't want any surprises on the day of, because it happens all the time. The next thing that you need to look at is, do they have an understanding of music? I like to say this: if people are playing music from a different culture, if it's not just going to be all top 40 or whatever for the whole night, people need to kind of understand music. What's the difference between merengue and bachata? What's the difference between salsa and reggaeton? What's the difference between Punjabi and Hindi music? Like things like this. If you're dealing with people from other cultures, you want people who understand a little bit about the culture that they're going to be playing music for, outside of this is music and they gave me a list. Most times people don't really make a thorough list. So you're going to need the DJ to kind of fill in the blanks for you. And unless they plan out the whole wedding and then you don't even need a DJ at that point, you could DJ it yourself. But a lot of times people don't, they give a couple of their favorite songs and then the DJ has to look at this list and piece together 3 to 4 hours of straight party music. And it's not a lot to go on. So you kind of want people who understand music. And if it's from a different culture, either you need to do the heavy lifting and add more songs to the list, or you should have somebody who understands, oh, I should play these songs. These songs work well. This is for an older crowd. This is for a younger crowd, and this will work best. People just assume I booked the DJ. That's the last I have to think about it. And that is wrong, wrong, wrong. DJs are about as vital to the wedding ceremony as your pastor or the facilitator of the wedding. People don't think about it like that, but if you didn't have anybody playing music for the whole ceremony, walk down the aisle with no music, had no music playing when everybody's taking their pictures, no music for dinner, no music for dancing, that wedding is a whole different beast. And you can think about how important this is. A lot of people think that, well, it's a wedding, there's a professional DJ, I'm paying you lots of money, you should just know what to do. And I think that's the wrong way to look at it. You should be involved with the DJ, trying to plan out the overall feel and what you want your wedding to look like or sound like. If you want a live party atmosphere for your wedding, well, it kind of matters who's coming to the wedding. It also matters what kind of music that you want to be played. The DJ doesn't know your family. I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's a professional DJ. You can just look at it like that's impossible. I think it's better if you, at least if you're too busy for the wedding, have your bridesmaids or somebody else kind of keep contact with the DJ to add music and kind of give a better feel for the people, because at the very least, your maid of honor and maybe the bridesmaids know you best, and it has a pretty good understanding about who's coming to the wedding and what kind of music they would probably like to hear. This is a difficult thing because a lot of people think that the music they like, everybody else is going to like, and that's usually not the case. And that's why you want a good DJ there who can kind of assess what's happening and who's here and what you can do. But you can only do so much, because remember, this person's just seeing you for the first time, and they're just seeing your family for the first time. And it's a lot to guess. There's a lot of guesswork. The best thing to do, and I always tell everybody, make sure you plan out exactly what you want and figure out how your family feels about this stuff. I know it's your day, but if your friends and family are having fun, your day is not going to be that great either. I'll say this: a lot of people, they toss it aside and they don't put enough effort into it, but it's a lot more complicated than people realize. And so you should spend some time trying to figure out what you want, what your friends and family want, and what's a good balance between the two. When I take these meetings, I always ask, what's the medium age group? Are people more inclined to dance, less inclined to dance? You should kind of have an understanding about that. I always ask, how many kids are coming. You want to know, if different cultures are there. If there's a lot of kids there, you could probably play younger music, but it's complicated because the older people are not going to like the younger music. And so you need to find a balance. This is where it gets kind of tricky. Let me know what you guys think about this list. If I missed anything, please leave a comment below. Anyways, thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and peace out.